Why choose TriZetto Provider Solutions? Here are definitely a couple of the reasons why. So we have 92% of our claims are sent with direct payer connections. So what that means is we have a direct connection with those insurance companies, and we are sending your claims to them without any middleman or anything like that, which speeds up the results with those claims, because that way we're getting the results back directly from that insurance company. Our team is currently trusted by over 33,000 practices, which equates to over 300,000 providers. Each year, we send more than 2 billion transactions, and as a whole, we have a 98% first-time clean acceptance rate on the claims, meaning that when claims are uploaded to us, 98% of the time they are sent out to the insurance companies for processing. Benefits of using a clearinghouse. So for some of the attendees on the line, they may be sending claims directly to the insurance companies or possibly sending some paper claims. Here are some of the benefits of selecting a clearinghouse. So when you do send claims through a clearinghouse, you can identify errors sooner. So we do have the claim scrubbing edits in place. So we will check the claims to make sure that they are as clean as possible before going out. There is a higher rate of paid claims. Claims are paid faster. So a lot of times with paper claim submissions, sometimes it can take 30 days for the claims to be entered into the payer system, which delays the payment process. When you send claims electronically, we usually get the payer responses within 2 to 5 business days. And then from there, that's when they're sent on to adjudication for processing if those claims are clean, and then you get the payment much quicker than if they're sent on paper. When sending claims on paper, there is not tracking available, so you just have to assume that when you mail the claim out that the payer is accepting them or receiving them. When you send claims out through a clearinghouse, we do get payer reports from the insurance companies. So we would get the first level report saying that they accepted the claim for processing, and then we get the final report from them, which is referred to as the 277 report, and that lets us know if the claim was accepted for processing or if it was rejected. Using a clearinghouse can also save time. There's some features that we'll go over today, like eligibility verification, patient statements, just things to kind of help you out in the office with your day-to-day. Increased efficiency. So our goal is to be a one-stop shop for your office. So you can send claims to multiple insurance companies. You can get the remittance advices. There's different features that are available through the clearinghouse. We kind of touch base on some of these through the conversation. So here are the core clearinghouse transactions. We can process primary, secondary, and paper claims. The remittance advices, this is basically the electronic version of the EOB. You can do eligibility verifications on our website, claim status searches, patient statements, the rejection and acceptance reports. We have enhanced reports available as well, such as the transaction summary and the rejection analysis. And we have recently just added credentialing to our transactions that we do offer. Our credentialing team is able to take over the credentialing process for your group. So we would be able to do the full process for you. So we have a kickoff call where we gather like your provider information and we get your payers that you're wanting to get credentialed with, and we are able to do the full process. So we can complete the payer packet, we send it out, we do all of the follow-ups until the credentialing is complete and they have you set up in their system. Now I'm going to go over to our demonstration site. So bear with me as I pull this up. Hold hold on here. Sorry, I have this under a different screen here. So this is a sample of what our demonstration or what our website looks like. So when you sign up with TriZetto, you will have access to our reports for tracking information. So here at the center of the screen is our performance at a glance. These are just quick glance reports to show you what's been going on within your office. As I click through these, you will notice that most of them show a year's worth of data. So that way you can easily track to see if there's any spikes in rejections or claim volume or anything like that. The first report here is the practice performance or the report card. This is where you can see your error rate based off of a percentage. So here it will show you the information, and it also compares your average to our TriZetto client average as well. Claims, this is an easy way to track your claim volume. So you can see how many claims you are sending out on a monthly basis. Hold on here. I do apologize. Okay, sorry about that. So here you can see the total claim volume. So it will show the total claims submitted and the total rejected claims. If you need to get the true amount, you can hover over the bar to see that information. Same with the rejections. You can also click here to view the claim charges. So if you want to see the dollar amount sent out each month, you can view that information as well. The top rejections, this report will show you the previous month's data. So this will show you the top 5 or 6 rejections that you had received for the previous month. So this is good to use for like training opportunities, so that way you can try to eliminate those common rejections. Days to file, this shows you claims submitted within 7 days of the data service. So this is the one report where the higher the bar, the better, because that means that your claims are getting out of the door quickly. Why do we track this? Because the quicker the claims go out, the quicker you're getting payment on those claims. The remittance advices, so this is the electronic version of the EOB, or the explanation of benefits. So if you're getting those on our website, you can actually see the information here as to how many, or the dollar amount that you're receiving each month. We have recently added a tab to this called the Denials tab. So if you're getting the remittance advices through our system, this actually will put the denials into categories. So it looks at the EOB denials that you have received, and it puts it in categories, so that way it makes it easier to work those. As we go through this, I will actually show you a new report that we've added as well, where you can take a look at those denials in more detail, and then also do the appeal process within the system. So within here, you will create your claims within ClinicTracker, and you'll be able to upload them to us directly from your practice management system. When you come to our website, you can track those claim files. So we have this report here that's called the Confirm File Delivery Report. Within this report, you can take a look at the files that we have received, so that way you can verify to make sure we received all of the information. So this first screen here is just the general information, so like the file name, the file date, the size, total number of claims, and charges. So you can use this to verify the information within ClinicTracker to make sure everything matches. And then you can actually get additional information on the file by clicking on the file name. So this will give you a breakdown of the claims that were submitted in the file based off of the insurance company name. And this report here is basically just a snapshot of where the claims are in the processing. So this claims column is just the initial submission that we accepted the claim. Paper would be if we had to drop any claims to paper. Then we have claims that were accepted by TriZetto or rejected. So as I had mentioned before, we do have those claim scrubbing edits. So we will check the claims to make sure that the required information is on there, so like the tax ID, MPI, member ID, date of birth, those type of things. And then if the claims are okay and there's no rejections, we forward them on. So then we get the payer, their first level will show that the claim has been received. And as I had mentioned before, claims aren't usually in this column very long because we usually get that final level payer report within 2 to 5 days. And that will let you know if the claim was accepted or rejected by the insurance company. The next section that we're going to look at is the rejections. So right now, if you are sending claims on paper or if you're using the payer individual portals, how are you getting those rejections in your office? I know with groups that I've spoke with in the past, sometimes they're mailing the rejections back, which once again can delay the process of your claim and the turnaround time for getting that claim paid. So when you send claims electronically through a clearinghouse, we get those reports back right here on our website. So within the system, you can actually come out here and view the rejection reports. So they'll be based off of rejection batches as we get those rejections in. You can click on any of the batches if you would like. And here it's going to show you, so the top line is just the general information. So like the patient name. If you go down a little further, you'll see the submission date, date of service, and then the charge for that claim. And then right below it is the rejection message. So the status column will let you know the red rejected indicates a TriZetto rejection. So that's one of those upfront rejections. And then the purple payer reject is one from the insurance company. So within this report, when we do get those payer rejections, we do try to code the rejections so that way they make sense. Sometimes when the payers send those electronic reports back to us, they just send codes and they expect you to go to their website to figure out what that rejection means. So we do all of that work for you. To view more details on the claim, you can click on any one of the lines to expand to a claim detail page. The tab information gives you the general information on the claim. You can view the service line information. And then there's also a rejection details. So you can see the payer report information. If it's a common rejection, we have added tips to help you with how to make those corrections on the claim. The remittance advices. So as I had mentioned before, this is basically the electronic version of the EOB, or referred to as the remittance advice. Typically when you log in here, the search will default to the check date and it's the current week that we're on, but you can click on the drop down. There will be stored options available, or you can manually key in the date range that you're looking for. With the remittance advices, we store them on your website for 7 years, so they are readily available and you have access to view them for up to 7 years. Within this initial search screen, you can see the check date, you can see the pay method, so it'll let you know if you're getting a direct deposit or a paper check. It'll give you the check number, the amount, the insurance company, and then it gives your provider details here. You can actually click on the screen to view the check details. So the top will show just the general check information, and then you will get a breakdown for each individual patient included on the remittance advice. A neat feature that is built in to the remittance advices is, let's say, this patient came into the office and wanted a copy of their EOB because they said that they didn't receive one. You can do this add to print batch, prepare selected remittance, and it will basically put this patient on a page of their own. So you can print that out and hand it right to them. There's no other HIPAA information or anything like that. So you can hand it directly to the patient. Since we do store the remits for so long, we have also added an advanced search option. So you can come out here and search for remits using any one of the boxes here. Usually the most common searches tend to be like check number. If you do have a direct deposit, maybe you don't have that number, you just have the dollar amount, you can put that in, or you can do like the patient last name and first name. As I had mentioned earlier, we can also do patient verifications, so you can check patient eligibility. Within the system, you can run an individual eligibility inquiry. So within here, you can create your payer list. Once you select the insurance company that you are wanting to run this for, you will enter in the information they're requesting. Once filled in, you submit the inquiry, and we get a real-time response from that insurance company. The main feature is to let you know if the coverage is active or inactive, but most of the companies do send back additional information. So this first tab here is just the basic patient information. So here's where you can find like patient subscriber, but then there is a benefit information tab, and this is where you can find additional information on like co-insurance. I know this is probably a little hard to read, but it will give you more details on the co-insurance. It will show you deductible, co-payment, and those type of things. So each payer does send back slightly different information, so we will make all of the information that they're sending to us available for you when they send those eligibility checks. A new feature that we recently added with ClinicTracker is patient statements. So you can actually create the patient invoice in ClinicTracker and upload it to us, kind of similar to the claims process. In return, TriZetto will actually be able to print the statement for you. So we print it on statement paper. Our statement product includes the statement, the outgoing stamp with an envelope, and then the return envelope as well. This is just kind of a sample to what one of those statements looks like. There is some customization available, and we will do testing with you, so that way you can see a mock-up statement to make sure that it's exactly the way that you want it to look. TriZetto's information is not listed on the statement anywhere, so it looks like it's coming directly from your office. So within here, if there's any sort of special phone number that you want them to call, or if there's an email address or anything like that, you can put that information up here. You can update the payment types. So if you take additional cards, like if you take Discover or something like that, you can add those up there. There is the box for notes. So if you need to put any sort of notes or something specific for that patient, you can. And then this would just be the back page if they needed to update their address. The tabs over here, the weekly and the monthly tasks, these are basically just the different reports that we suggest to run on the account. One unique report that we do offer is our safety net report. So the safety net report is going to show you claims that have rejected through the system. So either it was a TriZetto rejection or one from the insurance company. So this report is going to show you claims that have rejected but have not been resubmitted through our system. So this one, we're hoping it helps you make sure that all of your claims are dealt with and that no claims are lost within the system. So hopefully helping from timely filing issues or just claims being lost in general. As you do resubmit claims, they will automatically fall off of this report. So when you do make the corrections and resubmit, they will fall off of this report. So the next time you log in, it will not be listed there. And then the last report that we'll take a look at is our transaction summary report. A lot of times this is a report that office managers tend to like, or even providers. just so that they can kind of track to see the claims that they're sending out. Within our reports, a lot of them will have sorting options, so you can try to make the results a little more specific for your group. So within here, the basic information that this is showing is like your total claims submitted, the total charges, any claims rejected at TriZetto, the charges associated with those claims, any claims dropped to paper and their charges, and then it goes on to the electronic claims and the electronic errors and their charges. With the sorting options, though, you can make the results a little more specific. So say each provider wanted to see their information, but they also wanted to see a list of the insurance companies that they were sending claims to. You can put that in as a filter. So the gray line will still show the provider totals, but then it will also give a breakdown for each insurance company that they're sending claims to. With this report, and like most of them within our system, you do have the option to export to Excel, or you can print it out as is. Whoop. No, I kind of skipped a couple of these. So that pretty much covers our website. If you wanted to see a more detailed demonstration, or if you wanted to look at more of those reports in depth, you can definitely reach out to me and we can schedule some one-on-one time. And then that way, if you do have any specific questions, we can go over that information. I know that I had briefly touched on our credentialing, that we had recently opened that up. These are the credentialing services that we do provide. So we can do credentialing with new payers, so that is new credentialing. So if you have a new provider that's just coming out of school and they need to get set up with all of the insurance companies that you're already sending to, we can do that new payer credentialing. We can also do re-credentialing. So if you have providers that are currently set up, they just need to re-credential, we can do that. We can do hospital privileges, MPI applications, and also demographic changes. Once again, if you want more information on this or pricing information, you can reach out to me directly and we can go over that. We are offering a special promotion for new ClinicTracker clients who are getting signed up with TriZetto. We are doing 2 months free if you sign up by June 30th, and then 1 month free if you sign up by July 31st. So like I said, if there is, if you want a more in-depth demonstration, here is my contact information. So you can feel free to email me any questions that you may have, or you can call me directly.
Hey, Nikki, that was very informative. Thank you. And I think there's a lot of great functionality that you've brought to the table that can really help our users and prospects with the revenue management. We did have one question, Nikki, from Alberto, who wanted to ask about describing the difference between secondary claim rejections and primary claim rejections. Can you address that?
Yes. So within our system, like I said, we can do primary claims and secondary claims. So the primary claims would be the patient's first insurance. The secondary would be if they had additional insurance. So the secondary claim rejections, that's where we send the coordination of benefits information. So once it has been processed by the primary, then it goes on to the secondary, and that's where we would include like any of the adjustments, whether it's patient responsibility or contractual obligation, the type of information that we get on that primary remittance advice, and we would forward that to the secondary insurance. If there happened to be any secondary rejections, they would send those back to us. So if there was additional information required, or maybe they had like the date of birth or something wasn't correct for that insurance company, then we would get those secondary rejections back and you would be able to work those kind of similar to the primary claim rejections.
Great. Karen also asked a question about walking through correcting a claim on your system and resubmitting, how you might do that.
Okay. Let me jump back out here. So on the website, we do have a tool. So anytime you get a rejection, you can make the corrections within ClinicTracker and resubmit the claim to us. But we do also have something that's referred to as the online claim correction tool. So if you did have a rejection, you would be able to come out to the website, and there's this correct resubmit option. Within here, if there happen to be any rejection messages, they would all be listed at the top. And then we copy the information over from the original claim that you had sent. So if the rejection, so this one happens to be an eligibility one, so you would probably look at the patient information tab. So let's just say this claim you looked at and you realized the patient's name was actually Nicholas on the card instead of Nick. You would update that, and then you could resubmit the claim right from here. But the one thing with the online claim correction tool, those changes will not go back into ClinicTracker. So if it does happen to be something that is like patient related, you would probably want to make the updates within ClinicTracker and just submit from, so then that way you have those correct changes in place in the practice management. You already have it updated within the system. But within here, this is just a quick way to resubmit a claim. So say you had a claim rejection for like a missing modifier. You could come out to the service line information, add that modifier, and resubmit the claim.
Great. Thank you. Gio asked a question about the eligibility verification, and do you have to do it on your website, or would you do it on the ClinicTracker system? And I'll answer that. We have built an integration between your site and ClinicTracker for looking actually ahead on the scheduler, and any appointments that you have, you can do a batch report into TriZetto to get all that eligibility verification information, and that's recorded within ClinicTracker. And for new people that come into your practice that aren't currently on the schedule, you can do an instant verification as well. So we've covered you a couple of different ways, but you can go back to through the TriZetto website as well if you wish.
Yep, you'll have either option available to you. So if you have a walk-in patient, you can use our website, but if you have that patient in there, you can definitely run it directly through ClinicTracker.
Yeah, you can also use, there's an instant button in our demographics section that you can check for eligibility right from within ClinicTracker as well. Any other questions? Anything else that anybody has that we can address for you today? I don't see anything else. Nikki, I just want to say thank you for your time and everyone for attending. And if there are any questions, feel free to reach out to Nikki. Her number was on the screen. And if there's any other questions, feel free to reach out to anyone at the support team in ClinicTracker. We'll be glad to help you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.